Hey, what up guys? Welcome to Kerbal Space Program, episode 23 of our career mode playthrough. My name is REinstein, and today we are delivering MINMUS Tower 1 to MINMUS. To show you, I've kind of upgraded it a little bit from the end of last episode where I showed you. I've literally added a massive RCS fuel tank and some RCS thrusters. Now, the two contracts we're going to be completing with this video are transmitting or recovering scientific data from the surface of MINMUS and building and landing an outpost which can support 11 kerbals, has a viewing cupola which we satisfy on the top there, needs to maintain stability, and it needs to have an antenna, a docking port, and can generate power, which we meet with aplomb. There's our little antenna there, and the docking port is on top. Now, our 11 kerbals are satisfied by basically 2 storage containers, the mobile processing lab, and the viewing cupola. That adds up to 11. Now, it looks like we're going to be doing a nighttime launch. I think I might just fast forward just a little bit so we get a bit more daylight. And let's close the X Science module. Alright, are you ready for takeoff, guys? Here we go. Now, the pilot of the ship is Gilorf Kerman, and we have 2 scientists on board, Harkot and Josted. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the reason Jebediah is not flying this monumental mission to land such a titanic brute on the surface, oh, hold on, let's close that, is because he's still on his way back from Dres, if you remember. He's probably about a year, maybe 2 years out from his return. We have set a alarm for his maneuver, which is Dres Manned Mark 1 on the left there. 1 year, 14 days is when he's going to be doing his maneuver to get his Kerbal encounter. So let's fly this epic beast. You can see I'm now using these huge Oxstat XL photovoltaic panels, which I think they're new. I haven't seen them before. They're pretty damn cool though. They produce quite a bit of electricity. And alright, we're at 11,000, 12,000 meters, so we can start tilting to the right. Now, you might think this is a bit of an unwieldy beast. How the hell are you flying it? Surprisingly, not that difficult. The difficulty comes when I actually get into space, because it's so long, like there's not really any way to turn it with any great degree of ease. So that's why I've added the RCS thruster blocks. They just enable me to turn it a lot quicker. And plus, eventually we might take it back off from the surface, fly up into an orbit, and then we can attach it to our space station and stuff if we want to. So, you know, there are options, and it looks kind of cool. So I don't think I'll bother showing you my approach to orbit. I will show you, however, when we are approaching MINMUS. Hey everybody, welcome back. We are now halfway between Kerbin and MINMUS. And I noticed that we could do a materials study, which still classes as being in space high over Kerbin. So I did that, and then it's continuing on our journey. Now, this was voiced over after the fact, so the video is running at 2 times speed, just to preserve your viewing time. I know viewing time of all you viewers is limited, and you want to get as many videos in as possible, so I thought I'd speed it up for you. So what I'm doing here is EVAing out of the rocket. Time for this Kerbal to earn his scientific stripes, as it were, and go up to the Science Junior and restore it to working order. Now, you can't do that from within the ship, so a little spacewalk doesn't hurt anyone, and it's quite good fun also, using his little thrusters to propel him wherever you want to go. Now, just be careful you don't use too much thrust, otherwise you'll take off, because space is a vacuum, and the tiny thrust emitted by the RCS will propel you further than you expect. So just be careful. You need to use the QE WASD keys and shift and control as well. Now, we've got a little bit of scientific data on board our science processing unit, our mobile processing unit. But we're not going to process it yet because it uses too much electricity, potentially. I wasn't sure if it would run out of electricity or not. Anyway, we now need to reach the periapsis of our encounter with MINMUS. So the periapsis is essentially the closest point to MINMUS that we're going to be at. And we'll do a burn retrograde there, of which will change our velocity of by 204.6 meters per second. That will get us into the orbit we've planned. We'll just decouple that stage as we run out of fuel. It's a lot more easier to maneuver now. I won't need to use RCS thrusters to spin it round anymore. So I saw that we can do a material study while in space high over MINMUS, so we gather that data as well. Obviously, we'll need to reset the module as we did before. But once we get round to the far side of MINMUS, there's another periapsis as we draw closer. So we set up a circular orbit. Now, you can see how easy I'm able to maneuver the rocket now. It's a lot easier. Yeah, I mean, MINMUS is rocky in places and mountainous, but I don't exactly know how high the mountains are. But 35-ish thousand meters seems to be quite a good ballpark. You could probably get a lot closer. But it'll mean I can maintain myself in an orbit without crashing into any mountains. There's no atmosphere present on the body. And very, very little gravity, so you'll remain in that orbit. Now, we are going to do a little EVA here. And just reset that Science Junior. I think I've kind of messed it up because I need to open up the doors first. Or maybe I could have used a Kerbal. Either way, we open up the doors and fly over. The reason for this is because did a little bit of space gymnastics there. Did you see that? Spinning around like a boss. The reason for this is so that the what do you call it? The Science Junior is reusable once we're on the surface of MINMUS. So maybe there'll be another opportunity to gather data once we get even closer. I'm not sure, but let's try and get back into this thing. It's proven very difficult. Oh my god! It's propelled me off into space. Harcourt, where are you going? Now at this stage I was like, damn it, I've lost control of him. I'm pressing R to try and re-engage the RCS thrusters, but he's not responding. He's like, I'm not going to do anything, but you can do an EVA report with me. If I die, at least I will have done something useful. But gradually we get control of him and begin our flying back towards our ship. Now, you could probably land a Kerbal, actually, from MINMUS orbit. Yeah, I might try that. That'd be damn good fun, actually, because, yeah, the gravity's so low. There's no atmosphere, so he wouldn't burn up on entry. You could easily do that. But you can see I'm having a bit of a difficulty trying to get him back in the mobile processing lab, but we get there eventually. And that 16 science that he's got from his EVA report, we could turn into 100 science or 100 research points by processing it in the MPL. But by not doing that, I can fulfill the contract that required me to send back data from the surface of MINMUS. Either way is good. I mean, obviously you get more science data if you process it, but then you get the money by sending back the data. So either way, you kind of win. Right, as we descend, we need to control our speed. Now I'm noticing here we are landing kind of on a mountainous area, so I try my best to try and reposition it so it lands on a flatter bit, because there's no guarantee that it would be stable. As you've noticed, it is a tower, it is tall and thin, and it's more than likely to fall over, and many Kerbals will die in that scenario, I imagine. So I'm trying to find a way to sort of reposition my rocket, but also being aware that we are descending relatively quickly. So I decided, alright, let's just cut most of our descending velocity and then just do it by eye. Let's just move ourselves across the surface, watch where we're going to land, and it'll be a lot easier. So there we go. That's roughly going to be on the salt flats. Now, they might look a bit speckly, and they kind of look like they're made of sand or something, but they're pretty much perfectly flat. You could probably ice skate on them. So they represent a perfect opportunity to land such an unwieldy beast that I'm trying to here. Now, I wasn't actually sure if I could do it, to be fair. It might very well have tipped over, but as it turns out, I was relatively in control of the rocket all the way down. Wasn't perfect by any means, but one of my better controlled landings, which is just as well, because otherwise it would fall over, and Gilorf, Harcourt and Justed's family would hate me, I imagine, for killing them in the process of trying to land a ridiculously stupid tower to complete some sort of contract on MINMUS. Now, in my previous video series, in order to complete a contract like this, what I did do was use rovers and drive around different components and put them together and stuff. So I hadn't actually tried landing a giant tower like this before. I thought it'd be a bit of a challenge, a bit more fun, and potentially, like I said, I can launch this back off the surface and back into orbit. So it's good all ends up. In this playthrough, I'm really trying to plan things more. So, you know, hopefully I'm doing a good job of that. Obviously, what's his name? Jebediah, the most famous Kerbal of all, is not piloting this craft. The reason being that he's still on his journey back from Dres. He's about a year out still before we can do the maneuver to get his encounter with Kerbin. So yeah, he's kind of AFK at the moment. Or AWOL. I like it when I get my Kerbals out of there. They're like walking upside down. Anyway, time to get down to the surface, take some much needed soil samples, plant our flag, and do an EVA report. Lots of valuable data to place in our MPL. And using a mobile processing lab is actually one of the best ways to generate mucho science. As Omar, one of my subscribers, said, he's got an orbital outpost around Duna, and he's generating about 3,000 science using it. And you can pretty much complete the research tree mostly with 3,000 science. So anyway, that's about it. I'm going to carry on with my scientific experiments. Thank you for watching. Please click the like button, and goodbye.